Hey folks, Twisha Christian here. Today I'm going to give you guys an update on Zion Oil and Gas. So it looks like that Zion Oil and Gas put out another update. So I'm going to be going over that plus some short interest information and some other things that you should know going into the next month. Now first, I am not a financial advisor. I am just somebody who does the research and posts this what I find in my thoughts and opinions. And that's all I do. I would be doing the same research, whether or not if I was making videos or not, and deciding for myself how to trade this stock. Now, one of the things is that, I've been involved with Zion Oil for a long time. And I was there for MJ01, going through everything that we're going through right now. Right? But I was a lot less experienced in trading. I think Zion Oil was actually one of my first stocks that I invested in. All right. And I was like many of you, I held on for a long time and I lost a lot because I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I first started getting into Zion Oil. And one of the things is that I'm here to provide the information that I find. As far as what I should give you guys, the history, people aren't going in and going back to the history of MJ01 and talking about MJ01. And the people that have been in this just recently, there is history that you should know. You should know that about every investment. Zion Oil is a different kind of stock because it's an oil company that is trying to find oil. Now, if this stock was, had 10 wells and they were searching for more oil, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But it is a big deal because they still do not have a viable well. And the reason why I'm in this is not to get super wealthy. Now, that was my thinking before. But this is about the future of Israel and the future of the region and what we see prophetically changing and down the road, not just for now, but for the next 50 years. And as far as trying to get wealthy off of Zion Oil stock, folks, there's a lot of stocks out there that you can get wealthy on, and especially if you're swing trading, and of course you pick the right investments. I haven't always been perfect, and I actually put out a list back in January. I don't know, probably maybe 50 stocks, and most of them skyrocketed, right? And it was just based off of my research. We saw a massive increase. A lot of stocks ran up that were on the list that were at $1 and went up to, 25, 50 bucks. And right now I'm at a point where I'm trying to get more into the cryptocurrency markets. I was shafted, a while ago, and it got me out of the crypto game, and now I'm back in. But I'm going to get into this because, it's important that we do know the history because you know what, folks? Zion Oil hasn't always been honest. They haven't always shared the information like they said that they would share. We didn't know for 6 months, longer than 6 months, that the well wasn't viable. And that's what's important, is whether or not this well is viable. And there's a lot of people out there that are telling you just to buy and hold. Don't try to increase your investment. And you're going to wait this out, folks. You are going to wait. If you think in this stock is going to be $20 or $50 or $100, we have years to wait. We saw how long it took for this one well, right? So if you're going to be in this for the long term, then you should learn how to trade it and increase your investment. That's just my opinion. If you buy and hold, if you're buying and holding every time it goes down to between 10 and 13 cents, and then you're just buying and holding, that's fine. That's great. You're waiting. You're not buying when it's at 50 cents. You're not buying when it's at 25 cents. You're buying when it's low, and it's hit that mark multiple times. If you remember, when Zion Oil didn't tell us that they were going to go to the OTC markets, and everybody was in disarray because they didn't know what was going on, right? Everybody was selling because they didn't know what was going on. We had no warning. And with what's going on with Zion Oil right now, from their May post, and then we got an August post, right? And then we finally get some answers, right? So we're not getting updates once a week. We should be getting updates once a week. That's how you should treat the people that are investing in this company. right? Who cares if the price goes down because there's the delay? It went down anyway. And when the price goes down, people are going to buy, right? If I see that price go back down to 10 cents, I'm buying. But in this today, I'm also going to share what my exit plan is, right? You don't have to follow anything. You can do your own research. And that's what I encourage everybody to do. I've showed you guys FINRA. I've showed you guys short information, short interest, fails to deliver, how to look up all that stuff. So you can learn how to better trade along with learning the stock charts. Because those are all tools that you're going to need that if you're going to trade the stock in the long term. Because the exit plan may be very well important. I believe it and I have faith that they will find oil, that they will find natural gas. But what if it's not our time yet, right? The prophet said it wouldn't be this year. Okay, doesn't necessarily mean to say that they won't find natural gas. He said oil. So there's many different things I'm looking at this. Plus, it's going to take at least 30 days to test the oil and get a full report, get it over to Israel before they make any kind of announcement. I'm pretty positive that they're going to have to clear any type of positive oil announcement with the Israeli oil ministry or with the Israeli energy ministry. I don't see it happening this year. Plus, there might be other things that might have to do with taxes. And that is another thing I do want to bring up. It is tax harvesting season. And this is where people sell off their losses before the end of the year. It starts at the end of November and it can go all the way through December. So if there are people who, maybe they're invested in Zion Oil, they may decide to sell it off now and then pick it back up in January and declare those losses on their taxes. Tax harvesting season, that's why you're seeing the markets are down right now, because that's what everybody is doing. They're figuring out what they're trying to figure out what stocks to sell. And when they sell those stocks, they decide in a lot of cases to go back in January. So if they have a lot of gains and then they have a lot of losses, they'll take the losses to count it against the gains as far as taxes. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that in another video because when we look at the stock market, there's a lot of things that are going on right now, and we're getting ready to head into, again, talking about the debt ceiling and all that stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. And it says here, it is our joy to report to you this morning that our Megiddo Jezreel license has been extended for another 8 months for the purpose of full testing of Zion's MGO2 well. So that's pretty interesting. I don't think they need 8 months to fully test it. Just from the information and everything that I've shared with you guys over the last year, you go back and look at the history and you go back and look at some of the videos I did on how long it takes. And in some cases, I have read it could take up to 30 days before they know if a well is really going to be viable or not. So we should know by the beginning of next year, because folks, there are holidays that are coming up. You have Christmas and you have all the Jewish holidays, and then you have heightened tensions. Israel just closed off, people coming in, right? So if they got to bring somebody, if they have to bring somebody in from out of the country for whatever reason, that person is going to be delayed from coming there, right? We don't know if they need other equipment down the road. Something breaks, they're going to have to ship that in. There's so many different things that could happen, and we've witnessed it not just through MJO1, but even with purchasing the drill and getting it here and getting it together. We've seen all the delays. Okay, folks, so we did close out at almost 27 cents. And just looking at the charts and looking to see where things are going. And I'm going to be very cautious, but it's very possible, looking at some of these charts here, that we could be heading towards a downturn. Now, there could be some momentum coming out tomorrow morning during trading hours. And it might go up to 30 cents or 35 cents. But this is my thing. I don't know if we're going to hear anything for the next 30 days. They came out and said before that they want to update us more frequently, and they really haven't done that. So I'm kind of weary. Plus, they are just now getting into the testing phase of this thing. On November 23rd, they told us that all testing equipment and personnel are in Israel and is assembling the required equipment at the well site for comprehensive testing. Right? So that was a week ago. So we don't know exactly where they are at in their phase. But all this stuff, we've been through all this stuff before. My personal opinion is I think that we will go through most of December. You might get an update that says we're still testing. But even if it does bump up the price and we don't hear anything for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, the stock very well could go down. There's people that might use Zion oil as a tax harvesting, and looking at the short interest, folks, and we've seen it actually go up from where it has been. It was high back in the beginning. We see a couple days 65%, 48%, and then it slowly started to come down, and now we're heading back up. So despite the news, despite the potential of them finding oil. See, people who short oil stocks, that's one of the things. And oil companies and mining companies are one of the easiest stocks to short, because if you're like a company like Zion Oil, you haven't had that much success, you don't have any revenue coming in, you have a history of not finding oil, and you know that things are delayed, you know there's going to be time in between updates in order for you to short this stock. Just so we're clear, I've had people come on my YouTube and to say, thank you for your videos. I've made a ton of money off shorting stocks. And I ban those people when they say that. Because, I make these videos for investors. I don't make it for people who are shorts. But if you are a shorter in the stock market, it doesn't matter which stock that you are shorting, you are going to follow people who are talking about the stock. Because you would be a dumb investor, or you would be a dumb shorter if you just shorted stocks without watching for catalysts that could mess up your short trading. Now, over here on FINRA, I just want to go over the fails to deliver. And here we go. We have the same information over here on FINRA as far as the short volume. Now, just so we're clear on fails to deliver, I'm just going to read this briefly. Right? If a participant of a registered clearing agency has a failed to deliver position at a registered clearing agency in a non-reporting threshold security for 13 consecutive settlement days, the participant shall immediately therefore close out the failed to deliver position by purchasing the securities of like kind and quantity. All right, so they're basically, this tells you that you shall immediately, after 13 days, close it out. Right, so if they follow the rules, right, within 13 days, these positions should be closed out. But, provided, however, if a participant of a registered clearing agency has a failed to deliver position at a registered clearing agency for 35 consecutive settlement days in a non-reporting threshold security that was sold pursuant to SEC Rule 144, the participant shall immediately therefore close out the failed to deliver position in the security by purchasing securities of like kind and quantity. The requirements in the paragraph shall apply to all such fails to deliver that are not closed out in conformance with this paragraph. Okay, now, of course, some places could get exempt from this when you keep reading about this. So basically, from the way that I look at it, they have from 13, so all those fails to deliver, right? You want to talk about something that hurts a stock, and this hurts everybody in the stock market, is fails to deliver, because if they don't close out their positions because they lose, right, they could just either double down, right, or just let it go to fail to deliver and wait for the price to go down, right? Here, basically, from what it sounds like to me, they basically have a total of 35 days, right? From 13 to 35 days. Now, they can cover at any time after the fails to deliver. So even if you have a lot of fails to deliver and they slowly, over time fill those, then you may not notice that big of an impact on the share because, plus it depends on the volume. So one of the other things I do want to address, and that's that they ask, or I'll see it on social media, or I'll see it in forums where people think that Zion Oil is going to magically somehow go through a short squeeze. When you have millions of shares that are available for anybody to short, right? And you only have, I think on the latest report that I saw, I might be wrong on this, that Zion Oil only has 45,000 investors. But it's going to take a lot more than that. And I want to bring this up because Zion Oil, when they went to the OTC, they lost access to millions of investors. Millions of investors. Right? And when they did come off NASDAQ, not only did you lose millions of investors who may be on Robinhood or Webull where they don't have access to OTC markets, right? There are people that just use Robinhood or Webull or some of the other apps that don't have access to OTC. So you lose all those investors. And not only that, by going into OTC, you might, for foreign investors, might even have to pay more to purchase Zion Oil. So we don't have access to those investors. And, people don't talk about Zion Oil in the stock groups anymore, like on Facebook or Twitter, or stock twits, or whatever was available at that time before they went to OTC. People don't talk about Zion Oil anymore, right? They're gonna have to find something to get people's interest back, right? So we've had a lot of investors leave, and some of them are coming back because they're getting closer. Now, if we go through this whole thing all over again, if this well is not viable, folks, whoever is still holding is going to have to wait a whole another year. So I'm going to tell you, this is what my exit plan is. And this is if I feel like Zion Oil is not being forthright, or they're delaying, or we have like long delays in testing. And because of some of the mistrust, or just because of their pattern, you have to have an exit plan in every single stock that you have. And so we saw Zion Oil close out at almost 27 cents. Now, I'm going to wait to see what happens after the opening bell, because I don't know if the stock is going to go up or if it's going to go down. Am I expecting any other announcements that I think is going to drive this price up to over $1? I don't think so, because I just showed you where they're still assembling the equipment, and we don't know how long the testing is going to take. And it took over 6 months to get a definite answer of whether or not if the well was viable or not. So first of all, if you're still holding after 2 months and we still don't have anything, and you might actually see the stock go down below 10 cents if the testing is dragged out. If there's nothing that they can come with and say that this well is viable, like I've said, folks, they'll know within the first 30 days whether or not if this well is viable. And that's based off of the information that I have. But if anybody else has any information that says that it's going to take longer than that, please post it. But everything that I have read, it does not take that long to find out if a well is viable. So I want to make sure I'm in a position, because even looking at it prophetically, if Zion Oil is not going to find anything for another year and they got to go through all the drilling and all that stuff all over again, I'm not going to be holding at 27 cents and watch it go all the way down. I'm sorry. That's just me. I'm not going to do that. The money that I earn is precious. And that's one thing that Zion Oil doesn't understand, that without the investors, without us, they wouldn't be able to do what we do. Because after the whole OTC debacle, man, I could have just said, forget it. I could have told everybody else to forget it, but I didn't. But now we're coming around again, and it's going to be an opportunity, yes, to make money. If you bought in at 13 cents, if you have bought in higher than 27 cents, and if we don't get a bounce from this, you might be waiting. Might be waiting a long time. Might be waiting a long time to get out what you put into Zion Oil. So tomorrow I'm watching, and I'm gonna have my stop loss set in for most of my stocks. When it comes to Zion Oil tomorrow, in the morning, I'm going to be watching what happens up in the opening. I'm going to look to see what the short interest was the day before. And I'm going to be watching the stock to see if I see any massive sell-offs. Now, is it very possible that we could get an announcement that they have oil? Yes, but you don't have to flip or trade all of your stocks. If you have 10,000 stocks, you might flip and trade 2,000. You know, folks, if you're worried about making money, if this is all your investment and you putting all your eggs in this one basket, you are going to be an emotional wreck. But if you are trading this and you want to increase it, that is the way that there's going to be opportunities from now until whenever you find out if this well is viable. The stock will be going up and down. So that's what I'm going to do. And if I see the stock really sliding, yeah, I'm going to sell out, because if it's going to slide, guess what? Even if they do release any kind of news between now and the 30th, it's not going to be that they have oil. And whatever it goes up to, it's going to come back down. And we've seen that. We've seen that throughout this year, last year, the year before. There's always going to be opportunities to get in. And I'm not worried if I miss out on the next announcement. It's not going to make or break me. It's not going to. I went through all that where people were like, "Oh, they're going to let us know anytime." And I'm not going to be. If you are swayed so much back and forth that when somebody says it's imminent that they're going to announce oil at any time, and I was swayed by that, you know, for well over a whole year, and I was always afraid to sell. Because we might get an announcement, but it didn't happen. Now, yes, we are closer, folks, but I'm just trying to be honest and trying to be straightforward and tell you the truth that there's a risk. Even though Zion Oil might be successful in the future, it doesn't necessarily mean that MJO2 is going to be viable, right? It might be the next one, but in that case, I'll wait. Because I think the stock, if it's not viable, I believe that it's probably going to plummet all the way down to 1 cent. But that we might not hear anything for another 4 to 6 months on that. Right? If you're 4 months into it and the price is at 10 cents and you have heard nothing as far as a viable well, it might be very well, according to history, that it's not a viable well, because it doesn't really take that long. Right? So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be holding all the way through December. And keep in mind, folks, it's only one well. You know, there's going to be opportunities to get in, but don't let it run your life. Don't let it make you think that this is what's going to bring me the wealth, because in order for you to gain wealth, you have to sell. The stock is not going to be, it's going to take years for the stock to be at $50 or $100. Because Zion Oil will always have to sell to raise money until they start pumping oil. That they're going to be able to be sustainable. So tomorrow, we just wait and see what happens with the pricing. And, you know, that's all, folks. I'm excited, but I'm also cautious. I think I'm more cautious than anything else. And I do wait for the stock to go back down to 10 cents or less before any type of announcement. Because regardless, it's going to swing back and forth. You're always going to have opportunities to make money. And also with the shorts, as you look and see, it seems like they don't care about any license news. And they just are piling in. They are just piling into the stock. So that's something else. People don't understand that when a stock is shorted, that drives the price down. And about 50% of the volume is shorted. And the shorts are making way more money than you could have ever made off of the stock in the last 3 years. So, folks, anyways, that's all I have on Zion Oil today. Hopefully I provided you information and some insight and some type of exit plan, that you start thinking about an exit plan if things don't go the way that we want them to go. So I appreciate, folks, I appreciate you guys listening. God bless. And with that being said, TC out.